Yo, what's up you guys, this is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Quick Draw, we've got ourselves handling something bigger than a two-hander when we take a look at the Tipedo. So DE releases yet another weapon that I have no clue how to pronounce. Tipedo, Tipedo, or the Tipedo. Regardless of what I say or how I say it, I constantly feel like I'm putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable. That aside, this is one damn good looking weapon that comes packed with some fairly decent stats. While its base damage leaves a little to be desired, its supplemental stats definitely give it a helping hand. So the real question is, when it comes to comparing big sticks, does the Tipedo measure up, or does it get the shaft? So you can pick up the Tipedo blueprints in the market for 20,000 credits. Just be aware that you will need a fully crafted kunai and bow as a part of its build components. However, if you've already sold your shit off due to a crowded arsenal, you can always pick it up pre-built along with a weapon slot and a catalyst for 125 plat. Now the Tipedo's base damage is primarily rooted in slashing with a small but equal splash of impact and puncture. Now this works extremely well against fleshy targets in practically every faction. However, armored enemies will be a bit of a pain, so as always, be sure to equip the appropriate elemental combos in order to maximize your damage output. So straight off the bat, this shares the lowest base damage of all staves with the bow, and while that is a bit of a letdown, the rest of its stats work quite well to boost its damage output. First and foremost, it's currently one of the fastest melee weapons in game, sporting an astonishing 1.3 base attack speed. In addition, it has a 20% chance to crit and a 2x crit multiplier, which normally would only cause me to consider modding this for crit. However, due to the fact that staves innately have fairly wide arcing movesets, the Tipedo has a decent chance to crit off of multiple targets in one swing, making it a perfect candidate for a berserker build. Maxed out, this brings the crit chance to a respectable 32% with a 3.8 critical multiplier. And even with Spoiled Strike equipped, when running with Berserker fully stacked, the Tipedo lands just under 2.1 attack speed. And to top it off, it has a 20% status chance, which I guess is fine if you like that. Now, speaking of the way people like things, can we talk? Okay, so originally I had this all planned out in my head and I was gonna go on a rant about how good this damn thing's model is and start talking about how some penises just leave you dickmatized. But we're gonna have to save that for another day because I could totally see every single one of the comments on pronunciation coming. Like a motherfucking preview on a porn site. So, Tipedo, 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 I even tried to Google this shit to see if there was an existing word that I could snatch a soundbite off of, but to no avail. In fact, they didn't even know how to pronounce it on prime time, so they just picked a thing. However, let me put it like this. Just like every other weapon name I've ever had an issue with pronouncing in one of my videos, it's like y'all are trying to tell a virgin how to have sex for the first time. True, the base is there. You put this and that and then stuff comes out, but everyone's out there telling me how they like to do it, and everyone likes to do it a bit different. Louder, softer, faster, slower, more emphasis on the back end. See, the fact is, if y'all get it wrong, it's fine and dandy. However, this virgin's gotta make sure he's orally on point because shit, I'm putting this on video. So my apologies if I butcher pronunciation occasionally. Now, let's get back to the quick draw. So all in all, the Tipedo is definitely a great addition to the stave roster. Its mechanics, when modded appropriately, work quite synergistically. Its attack speed fuels its crits, and in turn, its crits granting it even more attack speed. Now, it does come innately loaded with a stance slot that I'm not too fond of, and a depolarity, which I'm sure you all know how I feel about by now. However, I do run a life strike on almost all of my melee weapons, so it may not be a total loss. Now the only issue that I do see arising with the Tipedo's performance is in late game, as its base damage is fairly low. However, this speed demon shouldn't have any trouble ripping through a majority of the star chart, because let's face it, with the kind of speed the Tipedo is packing, it's like a nympho in a bathhouse. Everyone in close proximity is bound to get fucked. So thank you all for watching another episode of The Quick Draw. If you missed it, be sure to watch my episode on the Centaur, the Arcwing's first crit-based melee weapon, as well as my snapshot on Nova's Antimatter Absorb. Now, don't forget to do the thing that I asked you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, be sure to stay tuned to see how I handle things orally here at A Gay Guy Plays. Don't you try to run from me. Get your ass back here and let me spank that booty.